Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. I'm Dr. Whitney Kosters. I am a professor of English and an AP reader. And if your goal is to become a stronger writer, better reader, and a more confident test taker, be sure to subscribe because I post weekly videos on research, writing, literature, and how to prepare for the AP Lit and AP Lang exams. With the AP Lit exam now less than a month away, I want to focus on the poetry essay because this is the part of the exam many students fear most. Poetry can feel compressed, unfamiliar, and harder to make sense of than prose, and under time conditions like on test day, that pressure and anxiety only get worse. What often happens is students start worrying they're missing some hidden meaning, or they latch onto the first idea they notice and rush into writing before they really have a clear sense of what the poem is doing. But the biggest problem isn't always understanding the poem. Very often, the real trouble begins once the essay starts. In fact, recent scores over the past few years point to a very specific pattern. Last year, students averaged a 0.94 out of 1 on the thesis, but only a 2.6 out of 4 on evidence and commentary. That gap in scores shows that many students can arrive at a defensible idea, but then struggle to turn that idea into body paragraphs that actually develop it. So an essay can have a thesis, quotes, and references to literary choices, but still lose points if the paragraphs circle the same point instead of adding something new. The reason students get thrown off here is because the essay can look organized and sound analytical, so it seems like it's doing what it's supposed to do. But if the paragraphs aren't actually moving the reading forward, then the essay is simply returning to the same idea in slightly different language and isn't building an argument. So here is something that can help you right away. A lot of students prepping for the AP Lit exam are taught to identify devices, so they can point to imagery, diction, contrast, or tone, for instance, and that's good. But in the essay, identifying is only the beginning. The stronger move is to explain what that choice is doing at that moment in the poem. For example, it's easy to write something like, "The imagery creates sadness," but a sentence like this stops too soon. Better questions to ask yourself is, what is that image doing there? Is it making the speaker sound more certain or more unsettled? Is it adding pressure to the moment? Is it changing how the reader understands what's happening? And is it complicating a feeling that at first seems simple? So this is where commentary starts to get stronger because it stops just naming something that's present in the poem and starts explaining why that choice matters where it appears. At the same time, this is also where many students still get stuck. Even if they start making this shift, it can still be hard to turn a good reading into a full essay that stays organized and keeps developing from one paragraph to the next. That's the part that often feels much less clear than teachers realize, I think. So because of this, I created a poetry essay guide to help with this exact part of the process. It's meant for the moment when a student has a solid reading of the poem, but still doesn't know how to turn that reading into an essay that keeps moving. The guide shows you how to approach the poem before the drafting even begins, how to organize the body paragraphs so they aren't repeating each other, how to choose evidence that actually belongs in each part of the argument, and how to write commentary that develops the reading instead of just starting over each time. It also includes full examples so you can see what this looks like in an actual essay and not just hear broad advice about what you should do. So if this video helps clarify why the poetry essay so often starts to lose strength in the body paragraphs, my guide is there to help you with what to do next. If poetry has been the section that feels most frustrating to you, here's the one thing I would carry into practice right away. Don't stop at naming the choice. Push one step further and ask what that choice is doing there. Now, that won't complete the whole essay by itself, but it can immediately make the analysis more purposeful for you. And if the part that still feels hardest is turning that stronger thinking into a full essay that builds from beginning to end, my poetry essay guide is linked below for you, along with my other AP Lit and AP Lang resources. Thanks so much for being here. I will see you guys in the next video, and I wish you the very best on the exam. Be well.